Good day, loves.
Hey.
Welcome to this moment, this other day. Hopefully, you did not have a late night, but I had a late night. Not super late, however late. Yes, indeed. We are here. Okay. This is episode 39.
Oh, 9.
Wow.
Oops.
Episode 39.
It says 38 in the title, but
That's okay.
we can fix that on YouTube, and I think we can fix that on Facebook. Instagram, y'all just gonna have to deal with 238s.
I think we can fix it too,
Oh,
actually.
okay, nice.
So, yes, episode 39 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast.
Welcome in. Our podcast follows a 5-prong healing system that we made in response to family members' cancer diagnosis that consists of the concepts of be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine, and correspond with the 5 days of the week in that order. So today is Thursday, meaning it's Move Day. And Move Day is about moving your body, and it's also about taking action.
So, yes, the reason why we are diving into movement is because it's an essential piece to holistic health. And when it comes to the things that we know that we need to do in order to stay consistently healthy, it's vital, and it's something that I struggled with. Like, especially the topic that we're talking about today, which highlights procrastination. So one thing that I really struggled with was, especially beginning my journey, I found myself being the constant collector of information and dabbler. So to the point to where I wouldn't make a move unless it was like the last minute, in the final hour, the final countdown, and I knew I had to start taking action then. And or some sort of crisis would push me into taking action, because it's like, well, I gotta move now because the world's crumbling down.
I'm sure you guys can relate to that. I can relate to that.
Yeah.
That happens every now and again, where you just get locked into collecting all of the information and doing all of the preparation steps, sometimes more than once, really, to the point where you become unprepared, because all of the preparation steps were preparing for having a normal amount of time to do the work, but you didn't necessarily do preparation steps in order to have really no time to actually do the work. You just prepared for having a normal amount of time to go ahead and do the work. And so that becomes an issue a lot of times when it's time to take action or complete a project, things of this nature. And unfortunately, when it comes to creating holistic, healthy lifestyles and sustainable community, we don't have that much time. We don't have a whole lot of time to just prepare. We're gonna have to do some stuff as we prepare.
This is a year of needing to create balance in our lives, create order in our lives. And that is in all areas. And because I noticed that when I did not have the routines in place, when I did not, I would just look and bounce from thing to thing to thing, and start up doing an activity and then immediately stop because of this fear of failure and wanting it to be perfect, and then distracting myself with other little details, other side projects, just so that I can have a good feeling again. And taking action with stuff that doesn't even need to get done, right? Stuff that doesn't matter all that much. It just was like a fine little detail that, it would be nice, but it wasn't like anybody was knocking on my door saying, hey, you gotta put an extra little decoration on on the background of that image, girl. What is going on?
Yeah, nobody showed up saying
Yeah.
that.
Or you gotta make sure that you cook like 3 meals that you don't necessarily need to cook right now. And yeah, instead of the one that you for sure need to prep in bulk, you know. So it would just snowball to this state of decision paralysis and then impulsive burst. Like, I gotta go. Oh no.
And so all of this comes down to, one word that we all know very well, which is procrastination,
Mm,
right? Procrastination roots itself in the fear of failure, like she said, perfectionism, decision paralysis, and of course, just like fear of judgment in general, right? Even if it's not failure, fear of judgment of you succeeded, but this part was ugly and this part was unprofessional and this part was, and you can never do it like that again.
mm,
Judgment,
yeah.
right? And overcoming procrastination, combating procrastination sometimes looks like taking action with incremental breaks of 2 to 5 minutes each. Tensi calls them divinity breaks,
5 to 15
where
is
hers
what
are
they.
5 to 15, but you
Mhm.
can do 2 to 5, depending, if you're
How much
male
time?
or female or how much time you actually have
Mm,
or whatever. And incremental breaks while you're taking action, meaning you're making sure that your pen is touching the paper, or you're making sure that you are working on the bulk of the work that you have to do and not the fringe details when you're not on break. And then when you're on break, you can work on the fringe details, or you can take a break altogether and go outside, take a walk or whatever, and just cycle in 2 to 5, maybe 2 to 15 minute breaks throughout the day and throughout the workday to make sure that you stay on task, which is kind of paradoxical, right? You take breaks to make sure that you stay on task, but you set um, limitations and parameters on those breaks. And this is a great strategy to overcome procrastination. And if you've never tried this strategy, I definitely recommend that you do, because people may like sleep on this strategy. They may say, "Oh, that's not going to work for me because if I stop, then I'm going to want to stay stopped." Yeah, if you haven't tried it, try it.
And this is like super important because this is something that is inspired by a book that I read by this crazy, he's not crazy, but by this really
Insane.
efficient and profoundly practical um,
Author.
author and executive coach. So he coaches all the CEOs of all the big old companies and has helped thousands of people and normal people like you and me that are working moms or that are like blue collar workers or that just need to have that like productivity in their own lives to really feel fulfilled and have time to do the things that they really want to do and would love to do and need to do.
Yeah.
So
So
this two
definitely
minute
check out the
rule,
book called
getting things done.
Getting Things Done.
Hmm.
All right. Um, Now, as we procrastinate and procrastination becomes normalized,
Mm.
we run into an emotion that should be very rare in the human family. And in super rural and super village like scenarios, it is pretty rare.
In
But
comparison.
in the cities and in the towns and things where hustle and bustle is how you feed
Hmm.
yourself,
Hmm.
we come across the emotion called overwhelm, right? The feeling of being buried in too many tasks and responsibilities to count, and
And analysis
overwhelm.
paralysis.
Yeah, overwhelm often leads to overanalyzing, or just say overthinking about the things that we need to get done.
Or going numb and just you're frozen from analyzing altogether.
Yep, yep. And so, uh, we talked about in procrastination taking breaks and things like that. How you take breaks from analyzation, how you take breaks from analyzing what you need to do or what you need to do first or how you need to organize your next steps is through, I would like to call meditation, right? Meditation, something that you can do on your physical breaks, where you've picked a task and you've decided to do that task, and then the mind starts to do the overwhelm thing of, am I supposed to be doing this one? What if I started to do this one? Would it help me to do this one better, or whatever the train of thought is? uh, while you're doing the parts of the task that don't require too much thinking for that part of the task, you try and induce yourself into a meditative state. Also, on your 2 minute break, on your 5 minute break, on your 15-minute break, you actually do silent sitting meditation where you can formalize it, close your eyes, and um, again try to relax into a meditative state where you're not identifying with every thought that comes through your mind.
And to interject, because I could not sit still for anything for the very beginning, and I had a lot of limiting beliefs around not being able to properly meditate. If you are embarking on this on your own, like I started out doing before we met, then maybe a movement or an active meditation where you're like you're doing your thing, but you're kind of like your your mind is starting to calm down as you're still moving your body with like a mundane task that you don't have to like put all of your focus on, or like a stretch in your body or some sort of movement. So that could be a support too. Just to insert right
Yeah,
there.
no, absolutely. A sway,
Mm.
anything like that. And what this does is it will, over time, improve your ability to focus. It'll help you block out the consistency of taking the breaks and taking the time to do the break from overthinking. Will help you regulate the time as you'll be looking forward to the meditation parts. And it's because we lost internet connection for a second.
We for some reason we went, well, because we lost internet connection, we disconnected from the live on Facebook. So we're gearing up to go live again on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook family, we will see you soon.
Yeah.
I love you.
And there's an importance of self-care in managing overwhelm.
Mhm.
And so doing mindfulness techniques, if you can, grounding, your feet outside, grounding your feet in soil and grass outside is also something that helps refocus and calm the nerves down. And it has a whole lot of bodily, like physical benefits to it.
Or, also if you struggle to, get outside practically, then you get yourself a grounding mat. If you find yourself at a desk job all of the time, and like how I did for years, like sometimes it can be hard to get into the habit of going outside when it's hot or when it's cold or when the mind is so loud with resistance, and when the majority of your day might be spent inside working or caring for your babies or whatever it is. Getting a little earthing mat or earthing shoes can help facilitate it, especially some sort of earthing device. You can find them for pretty affordable prices online.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, when Coach Tensi finally got her, earthing and grounding mats, definitely has been a lot more calm approaches to the experience of overwhelm. I'm not going to say, we're not going to lie to you and say overwhelm disappeared overnight.
It poofed like a magic wand, and this is a fantasy.
Right. But I can see that the grounding mats are helping um, with calm approaches to the experience of overwhelm or the inaction of procrastination.
Yeah, it also helps bring down inflammation. But the point is, when we're taking these little steps and these little things of action, despite the fear that we're experiencing, it's like my shoulders, like when I do it, when I did it in this, continuing on the story and in real life every day, right? And just this week, I noticed how when I just took a little micro action, so what is the next step, even if it's something that I can do in like 2 minutes, what would be that little bite sized thing that I could do? in order to move forward in this thing I gotta do, whether it's prepping meals or it's whatever it is, right? Action begets action. And I would start to notice momentum and start to notice I'm overcoming this fear, because even when I felt the nervousness or the judgment thoughts come up, I did this little thing and it starts to like release these good feelings in my body. And it's like, oh my gosh, I can actually do this. I can do this because I'm taking action when it's hard. I'm showing myself I can do this.
Yep.
And I'm showing myself when I wanted to quit, I can still take action. So
And I'm
that's
glad you
powerful.
mentioned that, because both procrastination and overwhelm boil down to a 4-letter word that, again, we know very well. It's called fear,
Mm.
right? If you take off all of the layers of why it looks this way and why it feels that way, both overwhelm and procrastination funnel down into the experience of fear. And this could be, again, fear of failure, fear of not doing it right in
Fear
terms
not
of,
being enough.
fear of being an imposter in the field, fear of social, like going against the grain, going against the status quo socially, being ostracized or not liked for it. So understanding yourself on a deep level, like when I started to get really serious about meditation, I started to do away with more and more of my fear of myself. And I started to interact with feelings of fear and doubt in terms of how people are going to react to what I'm saying, or how people are going to take the music projects that I'm putting out, that are more truth based, or whatever it is. I started to build a different relationship with my own fear through meditation, and it really, really helped. And I became the the lyrical master that I am today, you could say, as well as the action oriented manager that I am today in terms of our projects with the Food Child. So really, really important to sit in silence with yourself, understand yourself, and move with purpose, even when the experience of fear is at your doorstep.
Because what is life without fulfillment? And if we don't go at least a little micro step toward the things that we truly wish for and love, then we are not going to feel fulfilled in our lives. And it just starts to feel like this hypnotic rhythm of, and it's a term I learned from one of the Napoleon Hill books, the guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich or whatever. He wrote a book called Outwitting the Devil that didn't get published and whatnot until almost a century after he passed. And that is something that speaks to what we're talking about now, of this hypnotic rhythm that we can find ourselves stuck in, and how we got to break that spell by changing things up. And how we change things up is taking these micro actions. And that is what really drives the big juicy goals, is these little consistent actions that are crafted well. Okay, so we are gonna go, but and love on our daughter. We appreciate you so much. If you enjoyed the podcast and you want to hear more, tomorrow we're going to be covering Shine, which is sharing honest and insightful, nourishing expressions. A lot of ands there. Like this video, comment below what is something that you have noticed in your life, or maybe a friend, where they're struggling with procrastination too, and how have you ever overcome that in the past, right? Let's see each other's stories, really experience each other's stories, and
we'll catch you tomorrow.
we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.